Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to PowerTalk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypnotic coaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you'd like to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free e-newsletter, Powerlines, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. So today I want to talk about a simple, practical strategy that you can use to improve your productivity. And that is to protect the best parts of your day for the most important things. We all have what biologists call our circadian rhythm. According to the National Institutes of Health, there are mental, physical, and behavioral changes that happen on a regular 24-hour cycle to us all. These changes, this circadian rhythm, is based on the evolutionary imperative that creates the need to behave differently during the times of daylight or night. Your circadian rhythm is basically your biological clock. There are even scientists who specifically study this process, which they call chronobiology. Now, this is a physical process. There are specific proteins in the cells of your body that respond differently depending on the time of day. This internal clock is regulated by about 20,000 nerve cells that form your suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is part of your brain's hypothalamus. This nucleus receives direct input from your eyes, which is why your body responds to things differently during the daytime than it does at night. This nucleus controls alertness, wakefulness, sleepiness, and so on. It also regulates hormone release, digestion, and your baseline body temperature. So there's a lot going on here. This is why people who suffer from something called SAD, seasonal affective disorder, have to deal with these fluctuations. Their mood has a clear seasonal pattern, and they do well if they use like a light box that has at least 10,000 lumens of light for 45 minutes a day when the calendar progresses and the days start getting shorter. Now, the makeup of your specific nucleus is determined by your genes. But that said, it's quite possible for a person to retrain their biological clock if motivated. For example, throughout my student years, all the way up to grad school and postdoctoral work, I found that I did my most creative work after midnight. Now, I wasn't born that way, but I grew up in a home where there was a lot of conflict, and night was the only quiet time when I could count on not being interrupted. When I was living in a dormitory at college, it was the same thing. The subjects I was studying, science and philosophy, are complex subjects requiring focused attention over long periods to understand the intricacies of the material. Studying at night worked well for me. Even when I was doing my doctoral studies and writing my dissertation, at that point I practically slept all day and wrote all night. In fact, there are 3 pages at the end of chapter 6 of my dissertation that I believe were actually written by my cat Shadrach, because I have no recollection of writing them. But when I woke up on the couch, they were done, and they were pretty good, so I left them in. Now, all of this sort of matches the scholarly mythology of burning the midnight oil. in order to learn stuff. But then I graduated, entered ministry chaplaincy and hypnotic medical coaching. The medical world is a morning world. And especially in the initial stages of my career, when I was developing the hypnotic techniques that enabled me to work in the hospital setting, I had to adjust my schedule. If I was presenting at hospital grand rounds, I would have to roll out of bed at 4 a.m. to get to the hospital by 6 a.m. And I absolutely hated getting up while it was still dark. But I did it. And gradually my circadian rhythm adjusted. The body wants to flourish. And if that means learning how to be alert in the morning instead of at night, the body will adjust. Mine did. To this day, I'm now at my sharpest in the morning, with my highest value work often occurring between my first and second cup of coffee. The thing is that I now know this about myself, and so I plan accordingly. I know my mental computer is working best shortly after I roll out of bed and have my morning dose of coffee, so I will leave the materials I need to work on dead center on my desk blotter under a paperweight from the night before, so I can dive right in quickly. I do not let myself get distracted, because I know that if I can have a focused early morning time, I will accomplish mountains while other people are still just looking at their morning emails. I know those emails will still be there for me after my focused work time is ended. I protect my best time for my high value work, and I strongly recommend that behavior. If you keep track of your energy levels for even just a few days, you will discover what your best time is. You might be a lark and the best time is the morning. You might be an owl and the best time would be at night, like I once was. I've even met a few people who would take a midday power nap and knew that the best part of their day would be the half hour right after that. Whatever works for you is what you should do. And then you set up your day to prioritize your high value work for that time. Now, there is a trap here, and it's one I fell into at an earlier phase of my life. Don't just let yourself get consumed by the work you're doing for others. Assign a high priority to things like your personal reflection and your self-cultivation. Yeah, there will be important work for you to do in order to fulfill your responsibilities, but you can't neglect your personal time and self-cultivation either. Many of you know that I am very influenced by the ancient Stoic philosophers, especially Marcus Aurelius, who was once the emperor of Rome. In his book Meditation, he recounts how he would get up early in the morning to do his productive work and made it a habit to do this before others could lay claim to his time and energy for that day. And I have found that that works for me now just as well as working at night used to at a former time in my life. Know what your best time is and prioritize and organize your life so that your high value work is available to you at that time. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my work and my videos. So please like, share, and subscribe. And of course, if I could be of help to you, feel free to reach out through email, my website, or my Patreon channel. Have a great week.